All right, folks. So yeah, it's been a few days, but hi everyone. Let's start again. In this stream, I just want to wrap up whatever we can wrap up with the Bytes application. So I might do multiple streams today. This one is going to be short, like probably for an hour, and then I'll do another one later on today. So yeah, now let's see what we have that is pending or that requires immediate attention from our end. So last time we were fixing type errors, but then if I open I think it's fetch, so this has some TS signals, right? So like if I get rid of this in a second or two, I think like this would start throwing errors unless some magic has happened already. Yeah, it does, right? So I did spend some time looking into this, what the issue is really here, and I was able to somewhat figure it out. We'll have to test it, and then so this is one of the things that we'd be fixing. I think this is the only TypeScript error that we see right now. We'll validate this by let's do this immediately by running. So if I run npm run build, this runs the type checker. So with that we can check if everything is passing the checks. I think we have, let's see, like do we have strict enabled? Strict type checking is also enabled here, so that should be fine. Next we have to work on the UI, and then there are tests. We also had this like a backlog item of like having a server running and also like asking permissions before user can record. So I actually want to spend a few minutes or maybe less than that if it takes less than that. So the time that I want to spend here is talking about like what are the items we can work upon, what I want to prioritize and so on, right? So so right now we have this item first, like check if the WebM file has all the metadata, right? So the issue with this is let's open the site, and once I am there, let me make myself slightly bigger. I think if we can do that, yeah, slightly bigger than before. Yeah, okay, so we have this user table, right? User table. So the problem with this is like when I seek, right? So user table, does it really work? Okay, let me sign in and check a larger clip or a larger sound bite. So the problem with this was that it doesn't really allow us to seek through the audio file, right? So I think there's one called live, or maybe I think like this one has hello, hi. Yeah, these are like too small, like 2 seconds is a bit difficult to seek over. I think like live is better. We are testing this live. Just see, like right now it's at 3 seconds, but then it's still at the very start. So if I click over here somewhere here, right, like you see like it doesn't really seek. The reason for this is that it doesn't have the metadata which tells it like which tells the WebM file that you are so many bytes long or this is your length. And the problem is there because the Blink engine as of now, which is used by Brave and also by Chrome, has some issues with the media recorder, right? So I did find a issue for this yesterday. Let's see, media recorder WebM seek. So I think like there's a Google Chrome bug logged already there. Yeah, this says it this talks about an example. Okay, so by the way, this is TS-EBML. Is this okay? This is a encoder decoder. So I'm not really sure about this because this is an encoder decoder, it might do what it's supposed to do. But then we are talking about the native media recorder, right? So that has the problems. I don't think the issue is here. Let me just let's check on can I use. I think we can find it there. So if I search for media recorder, if not, I can just search for the bug in the bug tracker itself. We might find it there, right? So yeah, here it says no known issues, so that itself is incorrect, right? Because it has those bugs. So chromium bugs, and it's called something I don't remember. Like is it, yeah, this one, I think, issue tracker. One of these two has the bugs. Yeah, I think this one would. So if I search for media recorder, no, it doesn't. Where do I get the listing of bugs? I'm not sure what the site is called. I'm forgetting it, but let me search for media recorder. This is status. This is something else. Yeah, I think like you'll just have to take my word for it, because I am not really able to find the exact thing that I'm looking for here. There are some issues. Yeah, maybe these might be, yeah, see, like media recorder producing ckable webm file. So it says like producing ckable, but then they are not, right? So it says media recorder produces webm chunks that when assembled produce a webm file that cannot be seeked and does not have the correct duration, right? So this is the problem. And if I scroll down to the very bottom, you see like this is from July 20th 2020. So this person here is saying that like they're saying that like it is it's been there for 4 years and there hasn't been any resolution for this. So basically it means that the issue is still there, it's not resolved really. Yeah, sorry about that, hope that wasn't too loud. Okay, so the problem with webm encoding is with Brave and Chrome, or basically the Blink engine. Safari doesn't support media recorder at all, so there's no point in checking there. I think it works fine in Firefox, but I don't think I have Firefox installed. So yeah, but like the problem is still there. You can still record it, seeking it would be difficult, so you'll have to hear the whole thing. So with that, let me open the to-do list, or rather the readme file. Let me add a X in front of it, although it's not fixed. We'll add a note here. We'll just say like cannot be fixed, or this is not really clear. We can just say like it's a browser limitation in Blink. You can say Blink here. Yeah, this should make things clear. Clean UI, when I say clean UI, I don't really want to spend too much time on it, right? But then like this can be significantly better, so we'll look into that. Testing is something I'll put in our backlog, right? The reason for this is that this application doesn't have too many features. Again, like it's not really an excuse for not testing it, but then at the same time I feel it's not being used enough. As I use it, as I find some bugs, I'll continue writing tests for it, and then I don't want to spend too much time on testing. I want to move to a different project, and then some of the streams might be just testing this application. So that is how I want to prioritize this. The other thing we have in the backlog is server for running this listener. Again, I feel like I start the server as soon as I start the stream, so I think like it's fine for now. Again, like once we figure out a better use case for this, or like we find like more people are using it, it's working as expected, then certainly we'll have a server running. But for now I think like running it locally is the best. Then we had this like ask for permissions before user records. I think like it's happening implicitly. So it like if I do this, right, like ask default, right, so let me reload the application. So this is how it would work for anybody who comes to this application, right? And imagine you are logged in, you click on record, it will first ask your permissions. Even though it says pause here, it's not really recording, right, unless it has those permissions. So as soon as I click allow, only then it would start recording. It sort of gives a incorrect picture wherein it says that it's recording because it says pause there, right? So but then it's not really recording. So that is the only annoyance, but I think it's fine for now. Hello, hi. So hello and hi should only be recorded because that's when I click, like it's after I click the allow permission, right? So let's see. Hello, hi. Yeah, so that is working as expected. So I think like I'll just get rid of this. I don't see a lot of value in doing this, right? Let's also add our GitHub. Let's call this just Twitch, and this can be this can be GitHub, right? And this can be Twitch. Here we just need to change this to github.com. Yeah, this is fine. So the only couple of things that we are left with is removing the TS ignore and then cleaning up the UI a little bit, right? So by the way, I have been sort of like even though for the last, I think like this whole week I didn't stream much. I think there was just one stream pretty much, but then okay, yeah, I think you can't see it right now, but then like I did some sort of design work, so you can see it through these banners, and then my profile has a banner as well. So let me hover over this. Does it show it? No, it doesn't show it right now, but yeah, I made some design artifact, so I want to make this side look similar to that. So I think I might have them somewhere. Let's see. So documents, OBS. Yeah, so I have designs like this where I have this starry background. It's I have aimed it to be a little bit like pixel art, so not completely, but then there are a few hints of it. So I want the site to look similar to that, so the fonts and the background and the coloring all should match this. So we will try to do that, but let's first fix those type errors. So let's make this bigger. So we have updated the readme, this is fine. And then also I want to, like, once we fix at least the clean UI part, I want to move the backlog to our to the GitHub issue queue rather than using the readme file, and then also update all of this to just portray like what exactly does our application do, rather than showing this metadata which is not really useful for somebody who comes into this site. Okay, all right. Yeah, I think we can start by searching for TS ignore. Alright, so the files that have TS ignores, the file that have TS ignore are just fetch and listener. So let's start with fetch, because this is where we introduced it first. And actually, before I show you like the way it works, or like the way we will fix it, is these types are actually coming from add types, right? So this is definitely typed here, right? And then in here we have Airtable, and within Airtable we have this index.d.ts file, right? So in here we have base, right? And base in turn returns a table, right? A table of which is like basically a with a generic of an object, and then like the table interface itself has like fields. It sort of extends the field set with a type field and so on. But yeah, this last time in our last stream we spent a lot of time around this, but then it wasn't really helpful. So what I did find out was, like, if I go to now definitely typed, and then we look at the Airtable file. So let me search for Airtable. So with definitely typed, it's quite interesting, because like even though you introduce, like, you add types for each of the library that you are adding for it, you also add tests for each type, right? So, and test also act like examples, so you can review how to use these types correctly, right? So in case something is not really clear. And we see here that here we are defining a custom interface, right? So we are defining an interface called row, which extends Airtable field set. Now quickly looking at field set, right? So let me pull it up here, right? So this is what a field set looks like it has a key of string, and the value can be anything, like undefined string, number, boolean, collaborator, read-only array of collaborator, read-only array of string, and so on, right? But if we are defining a custom type or a custom interface called row, and we are saying that we are extending the Airtable field set interface, which basically means that the key would be a string and value can be one of these things. In our case, we are mostly interested in string, so it should be fine. And then we are defining all the fields it can have, right? So we have defined this interface. Now the way we use it is, so here you see, like, we say like our table, or rather our base, using our base, we select our table, and then we specifically say that it is of type Airtable dot table, and then this is the specific generic that we are passing to it, right? So we are saying that it has rows within it, right? Rows is basically this thing. So let's do a similar thing in our case as well. So if I go to fetch, right? But I'm not sure, like, if we do all of this. Yeah, we don't. So in fetch we are not calling base, right? We are not calling base with a table name. So this is done in fetch all, which is actually good, because this fetch all is used in both listener and also in the fetch file, right? So fetch all is being used in those two places. So this is our Airtable, right? And this is the base. So base is something we have to specifically set a type for. We'll say like as Airtable, because like let's before I sort of set a particular type to it, let's see what the base actually returns. It should return a table, right? So or rather it returns a Airtable base. Okay, so is there a table as well? Yeah, this returns a base. Let's see. So what is a table here in that case? What is Airtable dot table? Okay, this is a table, right? This is a table, and table has all these methods. What does base have in that case? Airtable dot base. Yeah, base actually takes in a value and returns a table, right? So what we are doing here is we are passing it a value, so therein it should return a table. All right, so by that logic, actually this should be a table, this base, should be a table. I'm not sure what is the issue here, but let's try this, right? So yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, right. This returns, actually this is a table, that this is a base, this returns a base, and this record should actually be a table, right? So if I go over here, this should give me, no, I'm a bit confused now. So base, if I give to the base, I'm giving this ID, which is fine. This would give me the base, and then so in this case, once we call base, and then we are calling base twice, but then like this is rather a variable, and then to this we pass in the table name, which is fine. So this should have actually, like this is base, which is fine. What does, yeah, this is actually a table, right? These methods are available on a table. So let me type it as airtable dot table. Does it let me import this? Global airtable has no imported. Okay, this is confusing. Why can I not import this? Import star as airtable. No, this is fine. I think there is some issue with it being able to find the type here. Yeah, it's not really able to find that type. So how do we do it? Let's take a quick look. So can we import? Oh, okay, I see. No, but then like it doesn't still have airtable.table, right? airtable.table isn't present, so that doesn't help. Let's go back to the types. Where is table here? So there's an interface here, but then I don't think that has been exported, but airtable has been exported, right? So that should be importable. Yeah, how are they importing it here, right? So they're doing airtable import star as airtable. Yeah, but then this is importing from the types. This is a bit confusing. Let's go to this directory. They don't have a package file, so let me go over here. Go to fetch. Airtable is already imported. What else can we import from here? Apparently nothing else. So what else can we do? But yeah, it's not importing relatively. So let's see. Let's do a star as airtable, right? So this, why is this complaining now? Import may be converted. Okay, so it's converting it to default import, so that should be fine. Now what else can we do here? So if I check for the airtable and see what is available there, so there is actually nothing available on this type, so which is a bit confusing. What if I remove this await? What do we get? What does a record become in that case? And what if we comment all of this out as well? What is record now? Is it still? Oh, it becomes a table, right? And then, but on this side, is there there's no await here, which is a bit confusing. But okay. So right now this is a record because we are calling all of these methods on it, right? So that's fine. But then this is, it says like await has no effect on the expression. Okay, it's fine. But then it's giving me a table. I cannot change the type here, right? Because the problem is that I can't import airtable.table. Airtable dot. Okay, now okay, yeah, now I get it. Airtable.table, and then I pass to it a specific type, right? So we'll call it fields, and let's uncomment all of this. All right. Let's see. Await has no effect on it. What did we change here? So besides, I'm a bit confused, like on what parts did we change. Okay, one, there shouldn't be a semicolon at the very end of this. All right, so and then why is this complaining? All doesn't exist, so on. How was this done here? This is table and we do a select on it, right? So we did a select on it here as well. So I don't think that changes a lot. Yeah, we had base here, await base table. The same thing is on the other side as well, but then immediately we had a select. Instead we have this as. So I think like we have to wrap it in, I think we have to wrap it in parents. Maybe then it works. Yeah, that works. We just need to now define the fields. So let's define an interface called fields, right? And then here we would specifically select. Oh, okay, now this is confusing. The reason it's confusing because it is dynamic, the table value, right? So in case the table is bytes, the value would be something. In case it's something else, it would be something else. But that said, I don't think we have it working in a dynamic way, right? So if we have, this is fetch all, let's open listener. Listener is not providing a specific table, right? So it means it defaults to byte. And then similarly, I think the same is the case with fetch as well, right? So it doesn't choose a specific table. So let's also check, let's also search for fetch all, like in case it's used in more places than what we are expecting, right? So here I see a fetch for users, so there immediately it would start throwing errors. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's take a look at why do we have users here. Okay, we have users because yeah, I think this is fine. This file in itself isn't really happy because there are some other issues which we didn't notice, but okay, let's come back to this. Let's for now fix this. Okay, so in this case, let's see what we need on the field, right? So this is something we can figure out from listener and also from fetch. So let's have them open on the side. and fetch as well. Alright, so the fields that we need are we need name, we need URL, we need created on, we need user, we need name from user, and we need image from user, and also approved, right? So all of these are string values. So besides approved, I think approved would be a boolean, but everything else is fine. So let's define these. So I'll start with name. This would be a string. We have id. Id is not something we are pulling from the field, so it should be fine. Then we have URL. What else? We have created on. This has to be a string, so let's make it a string in that case, and then so on. We have name, URL, created on is already done. We need user, what else? We need, it's called name from user, right? And then similarly we have image from user, and what else? We have approved. Just a second. Say delete around quotes. So it's approved, right? Save it. I think that is pretty much it. We addressed approved, image from user, name from user, user, created on, name, URL, and the same thing is over here as well. So now let's see like why it's still throwing errors. It says field does not satisfy the constraint field set, is missing in the type fields. I think, yeah, the problem here is we need to extend it. So that would be extends Airtable field set. I can't seem to type today, but let's see. Yeah, I think it's happy now, right? Yeah, it seems happy. Let's see what all returns now. Maybe, yeah, you see it says like it returns a promise of Airtable records which has fields within it, right? So this file is fine, but then what are we more interested is in this thing. So it doesn't seem to be throwing issues right now. Okay, it did actually throw errors, and let's see what the error is. It says that element implicitly has any type and so on, but let me go ahead and remove ts ignore completely from all these lines so that we can start fixing it. Let me restart vim. Right, and let's go to the listener. Let the compiler run. So if I do r.fields and if I do quote, okay, you see like the auto completion is working and it knows like what are the values that can be there. Now the only thing that, okay, now it's again throwing errors. I'm not sure why. Element implicitly has an any type because the expression of type string cannot be used. No index type parameter font type this. How come? Is it because of the accumulator, I think, rather than anything else, right? So this isn't typed, the reducer isn't typed, so I think that might be the issue. So this takes in an accumulator of any and r of any for a second, right? Is this happy, or is this how we, oh, okay, no, this is not how we do it, right? Like, we just put the types in front of it and that should be it. but this is not really the correct way to do it. The way I want to do it is if I go back to fetch all and make these all optional, right? Because we don't really know what we would be pulling from this object. This adds more complexity actually, because like now we have to check whether the option is being used, is present or not, all of that. So but then I think like it's fine, we can deal with that. So this is fine. Now we can also, let's export this fields, export fields. Then going over here, we'd say like there would be an interface for this returns bytes accumulator, right? So this has a key of type string, and then the value is fields. No, it didn't import it correctly, or it didn't import it at all. So let's import it from this would be within query, I think, fetch all, not interface, fetch all, and then let's see, can we import it? Yeah, we can. So let's see now. So this is fine, it's saying that it is not used, but then we can type it here by saying the accumulator would have bytes accumulator as a type. So when we check the type on accumulator, this is fine. Do we need a type for R? We do need a type for R, and R would be a record of fields, right? So can we have a record of fields? What does this look like? So it would be Airtable record instead of records and then fields, right? Yeah, that should be it. So this would be Airtable dot record and then field here. Fields is fine, but it shouldn't be records, it shouldn't be plural. Now we are seeing an error here saying that type undefined cannot be. Okay, I think this is an issue with the reducer. Okay, yeah, so but no, it's not an issue with the reducer, it's rather an issue with R. R is a record, right? So I don't think this is the correct type, or is it? Let's check the type. Records of T field. What does T field look like? A record of T fields is a read only area of record of T fields. Okay, that is just a type, right? Yeah, record T field. So yeah, I think like this is fine, because R would have a ID, so that is something that is coming up, and then R also has fields, and within that field we have name. So is it saying that like name might not be present? Type undefined cannot be used as an index, right? So I think like the reason why it's doing this is because it can be undefined. So if I add an exclamation point, yeah, so I think that is fine. The way we can make sure of this is we can probably do a if r.fields name has a value, right? So this does a check for it, and only then we run this, right? So I think like with that the problem goes away. Now I see another warning here, or rather an error. It says that the bytes accumulator is not assignable to type bytes I. Okay, we have defined it here. Okay, we are returning this value, right? So yeah, the accumulator isn't really of the shape, right? Like it doesn't have fields and all of that. So R does have that, but yeah, accumulator isn't really that, right? Accumulator is just a key string and byte but I, right? So this is an object actually, so this can be wrapped as like this, but then what's the issue here? Cannot find name bytes. It's byte I. Now these two are complaining, saying that what's the issue here? Yeah, I think like we'll keep getting this. So what we'll do in this case is, because in case the URL isn't present, we'll just do an empty string, and the same thing would go up here as well. Alright, why is this not happy? It says that ID string, name string, so on is missing. Okay, yeah, bytes now has some issues. So let's go back here, because we are saying that we'll return bytes I, right? So let's move this down, let's add a space here. Okay, yeah, so now it's complaining that bytes I has all these properties required, but we want them to be optional, right? So the way we can fix it is we can just make them optional. That's pretty much it. So we'll go here, the username, all of this. I think like we can make all the properties optional, but yeah, let's keep at least these as is. Let's go to the previous file. I'm pretty sure like just by making those optional we introduce more warnings, more errors, but let's see. Is there a organize import thing? Yeah, there is, which is pretty nice. Okay, now let's run npm run build. So this is running. Meanwhile, let me take a look at Twitch. Okay, it seems it's happy, but I'll again take a look by going through all those files. Okay, I feels everything is fine right now. So all right, okay, so let's take a look at those files that might be using any of this username, for example. This should at least throw a warning, right? Like in case the value isn't present. I'm just wondering about that. Okay, something seems to be off. Also, like, yeah, it says like it can be undefined, so I'm not sure. Yeah, all of this has undefined in there, but it's not complaining, so I think it's fine, because yeah, these values can be like can be empty is what it is, I think. Yeah, okay, I think we are good for now. Since it's not complaining, let's run the application once and see what we actually get. So let's do npm run dev. Let's open it over here. Okay, so the application has started, but then I'm immediately seeing all these errors, and I'm not sure why. Only absolute URLs are supported. This is coming from fetch. So let's take a look. What is the issue? Like, let me first. I think like it's primarily just me sourcing in the environment variables, and that should fix it, because the environment variable has the next URL as well, which comes in handy to sort of for primarily for the server side props, and those use the URL to pull in the data. Okay, so we are getting all the recordings here, so this is fine. I can go to admin. I can see all of these, right? So I think this looks good to me. Yeah, let's play something. I do have the server running in here, so let's do bang bytes ls. So why is the chat not visible? Not really showing anything at all. Let me try again. Bytes ls. Nope, I can't see the chat logging here anything. So unless I've messed up something, I don't know what the issue is. There are no filters, there's nothing. The URL, I think it's fine. Let's see. Let's copy the URL over here and paste it. So this should do the same thing over here as well. So if I do a bytes ls, okay, we do see it here. Why am I not seeing on the Twitch screen though? I think it's at the very top of things. So let me open up Twitch here. Let's see like if it shows up on Twitch. I'm a bit confused, but let's see if we can figure it out. So and then there's always a bit of delay for me, but let's see like if I paste or type in the chat message, let's see if it shows on the terminal in the screen here or here actually. Yeah, I don't think it's showing up, which is weird. Earlier I tried it, it was showing up, so I'm confused. But let me do this. Let me remove this and let me add it back again. Let me remove the source, add one browser source, call it chat. Let's use this URL. Let's see if it shows now. Right, so if I do bytes ls, nope, not showing up. Oh no, it does show up. Okay, yeah, we could certainly add some spacing in here between these two, but then yeah, and also I think like the text could be slightly, should it be bigger? recording and all of that. Hello, hi. Okay. Yeah, I think like the chart is fixed now, and then I do need to make the text slightly bigger. So let me take a quick note for that. So we'll call it. It's 15th, right? 15/8/2020. Not MD. So this would be stream. Make the chat font size bigger, increase the space between chat messages. Yeah, that should be it. This would be 15/8/2020. Okay. Yeah, this is something I'll take care of. Now the chat and all is working fine. Let's approve something else. This one, and also maybe what else? Maybe the last one. Okay, so this won't immediately show up because it will have to wait to fetch sounds. Can we trigger it manually, like in case I update it? That would be interesting, right? So let's see. Let's actually create one more window here. So in case I like, how is this being called, right? Like, let's see how is listener. Okay, so listener isn't really a function. It's just a node server that is running, but then it can be a function. It can listen. It can act like a function, and wherein it triggers, where it basically I hit the endpoint and then it sort of immediately pulls the sounds rather than fetching on cron events, right? That way. Yeah, thinking of it like that would help us. Rather than having it a live server, it can become serverless, right? Like, so yeah, but then it can't really listen to messages, right? Like, that is the problem. It has to proactively listen to messages. That is something it can't do right now. Okay, so it has fetched the sound. So let's do a bytes ls, right? So now we have how is it going. So if I copy this, so if I do bytes, it's called how is it going, question mark. I didn't hear anything. Hello, how's it going? Okay, so one of the other problem here is that it has to pull in all the sounds every time. I think there should be a mechanism to cache the sounds as soon as it downloads them, and then in case it's not present, it looks up in the in case it's not present in the local cache or local directory, it goes to the URL, right? So yeah, because some of the work is already done in the way that let's see here. So if we go to our listener here, the listener, before it runs, right, like before it can start listening or connect to the client, before we do any of that, we fetch the bytes, right, from Airtable, and then we do it obviously we do it after 1 minute, but then we do fetch all the bytes beforehand. So what we can do is we can have a cache directory, store all the sound bytes there, and look up the sound here. So the way we are playing the sound is here, right? We do a spawn here, Didn't mean to do that, but yeah. Okay, what's wrong? So we spawn here, right? So before we pass it this URL, I think we can also pass it a local URL, right? So in case the file is present, we can just pass it the local URL, otherwise the URL. So it could be like local, or in case local isn't present, we do a URL. It can be that simple. So the only thing we need to do is just download the file, and that should be it, right? So even actually, like, I'm thinking, like, even don't do this, don't play the URL at all, don't play the URL at all, and then just download the file locally and then play it. So that way we make sure that every file is present locally, and that should be it. The other thing is, yeah, that way, like, I can think of like getting like that way we can basically like get rid of S3 completely, like if we are storing the file locally, then. But yeah, for now I think like that is not the goal, but we still want to have them locally so that they play immediately. The other thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to consider, like, can we, rather than playing sounds in parallel, because we have spawn instead of spawn sync, I wanted to see like if we can do sequentially. So let me do like bytes random twice, one by one. So I've done it twice. User table, hello, hi. Yeah, you see, like, it's one, like, it takes a while to start, and then the other thing is that it runs in parallel, right? So if I import spawn sync instead, and then replace it here, I think the arguments would remain the same because there's no callback. But let's run it now. Let me restart the server once. So this hopefully should run it in. Okay, there's an issue here. Cannot find spawn. Do we have it multiple times? Okay, we do have it multiple times. Yeah. So let's fix this as well. Yep. Let's see now. Yeah, let's put this to test. I'll put in random immediately, like one by one, without any wait, and the sound should run one by one as well, rather than in parallel. Yeah, we see the message playing random byte, the first one. Okay, the second one didn't run at all. That is not something we wanted either. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so I think before we move on to other things, let's review what we have done so far and some of the things we might want to revert, right? So this is fine, the readme is fine, bytes is fine as well, the fetch is fine because we defined the fetch, the fields interface. So the only thing that I'm not sure about is listener. So if I do like a diff on listener, so here we updated the spawn to spawn sync. That is the only thing. I think rest we can add. We should be good with it. So let me open this file. Okay, it seems I have it already open here. So let me revert this sync in these places. Do a git diff again. All of this looks fine. Fetch looks fine. Fetch all also looks fine. Is there no change in the listener? There should be some changes in the listener, right? I guess. Yeah, the only changes that are there are like related to TS ignore and types that we have added. So I can do a like git add and then remove TS ignore and then push it. Okay, so with this the type issue is completely fixed. Like we had TS ignore earlier, now we don't. So I think I'll end the stream here and I'll be continuing back in an hour from now, I guess. So thank you everyone. Bye.